The real name of Mogadishu is a killing look. The name Mogadishu evokes a complex tapestry of images for the global audience, a sun-drenched coastline giving way to years of relentless conflict. While officially the capital and largest city of Somalia, the enduring moniker suggested by the provocative phrase, "The real name of Mogadishu is a killing look," speaks not to its geographical coordinates or historical identity, but to the visceral, immediate impression it leaves on the observer and inhabitant alike. This supposed real name functions as a powerful metaphor, encapsulating the city's pervasive insecurity, its devastating beauty marred by destruction, and the relentless scrutiny under which its people live. To understand this nomenclature is to delve into the socio-political reality of a city perpetually caught between aspiration and collapse. Mogadishu, often referred to as the Pearl of the Indian Ocean in more optimistic historical texts, possesses a profound aesthetic duality. Its physical setting is undeniably stunning, turquoise waters lap against sandy shores, framed by crumbling but architecturally significant colonial and traditional structures. This inherent beauty, however, is constantly undercut by the visual evidence of systemic failure and violence. A killing look is one that pierces the surface, revealing underlying harsh truths. For visitors, this look is often the site of checkpoints manned by nervous security forces, the skeletal remains of buildings scarred by mortar fire, or the pervasive presence of internally displaced persons' camps clinging to the city's periphery. This juxtaposition of paradise and peril constitutes the first layer of the killing look, a visual testament to decades of civil strife. Furthermore, the killing look directly references the persistent threat of lethal violence that has defined life in Mogadishu for over 30 years. Since the collapse of the central government in 1991, the city has served as a battleground for various factions, most recently dominated by the prolonged insurgency of al-Shabaab. The environment breeds constant hypervigilance. Every shadow, every unusual vehicle, and every unfamiliar face carries the potential for an explosive device or an ambush. For residents, the simple act of commuting to work, attending school, or visiting a market is an exercise in risk assessment. This perpetual state of anxiety, where life can be extinguished instantly and randomly, stamps a fatalistic expression onto the city's identity, the killing look of imminent danger. This interpretation moves beyond mere physical observation to encompass the political and psychological dimensions of life under insurgency. The killing look is also the gaze of surveillance, both governmental and non-governmental. In a city where political power is fluid and contested, trust is a rare commodity. Residents are constantly watched, whether by militia groups enforcing strict social codes, or by international forces attempting to maintain fragile stability. To look out onto the streets is to be looked back upon with suspicion. This reciprocal, hostile observation forms a psychological barrier, creating an atmosphere where genuine freedom of expression or movement is curtailed. The city observes you, and its gaze is lethal if you deviate from established, unspoken rules of conduct. The phrase also serves as a commentary on the international perception of Mogadishu. For much of the world, the city is not viewed through the lens of its vibrant culture, its resilient people, or its attempts at reconstruction, but through the narrow, sensationalized frame of terrorism and humanitarian crisis. News reports often focus exclusively on the latest bombing or the dire statistics of famine, reducing a complex metropolis to a static disaster zone. This external, killing look is one of reductionism and fatalistic judgment. It kills the city's potential by denying its narratives of hope and rebuilding efforts, such as the recent expansion of businesses and the tentative return of stability in certain districts. The international gaze refuses to see Mogadishu as anything other than a war zone, thus cementing its negative reputation. However, acknowledging the killing look is also an acknowledgement of profound human resilience. The people of Mogadishu live under this harsh glare and continue to build, trade, and educate their children. They possess a unique form of hardiness, a necessary adaptation to survive conditions that would crush communities elsewhere. The look they return to the world is one of defiance. They have internalized the threat, integrated it into their daily routines, and yet they refuse to vacate the space. This tenacity, visible in the bustling, albeit heavily secured, markets and the determined faces of young entrepreneurs, suggests that the killing look is not the final word on Mogadishu, but a temporary characteristic born of severe political pathology. In conclusion, while Mogadishu remains the official cartographic designation, the proposed alternative, a killing look, functions as a potent metaphor for the city's lived experience. It encapsulates the lethal physical environment, the psychological strain of constant insecurity, and the damaging external perception that overshadows genuine efforts toward normalcy. This look is the visual manifestation of decades of conflict, the perpetual shadow cast by violence, and the piercing scrutiny under which Somalis strive for peace. It is the name given by those who have witnessed its scars and felt its sharp edges, a sobering reminder that for a city yearning for rebirth, the most immediate identity remains etched in survival.